Today, we find ourselves at a legal and moral crossroads, once again played out in the theater of Philippine politics. Cebu Governor Gwen Garcia has been found guilty of indirect contempt by the Office of the Ombudsman. The charge? That she defied a preventive suspension order issued against her last April. A 30,000 pesos fine was imposed, a penalty meant to sting, but also to send a message: we will no longer tolerate affronts to our mandate. But let's pause here. Let's ask the more important question: was this really contempt, or was it caution? A measured, if controversial, response to an order issued during a legally questionable period. Because here's the overlooked detail. The Ombudsman served the preventive suspension order within the election period, a time explicitly covered by a ban on suspending elective officials under Section 261, Paragraph X of the Omnibus Election Code, unless the offense falls under certain grave exceptions like corruption involving public funds or threats to life. Any suspension must receive COMELEC clearance. Garcia's case, administrative in nature, tied to quarry permits, doesn't appear to fall under these exempted acts. So if a legal gray area existed, wasn't it prudent for her to seek guidance from the Commission on Elections? To wait rather than to rush and allow due process to clarify the ambiguity. The Ombudsman says her act was defiance. She says it was legal advice. The Court of Appeals, for its part, issued a temporary restraining order, an acknowledgement that this issue wasn't settled. Even the Ombudsman itself moved to quash the TRO, which implicitly admits its existence and relevance. Yes, to some, her move may have painted her as arrogant, above the law even. It might have cost her politically. In the eyes of the public, especially during campaign season, optics matter more than legal nuances. But governance is not about optics alone. It's about balance between accountability and fairness, discipline and rights, compliance and inquiry. The indirect contempt ruling, therefore, feels misplaced. Not because the Ombudsman has no power, but because the context was far from clear-cut. And in a democracy that claims to be governed by the rule of law, we must not punish officials for asking questions, especially when the timing, the process, and the political climate raise more than a few red flags. Sometimes, the greater offense is not disobedience, but the refusal to admit that even authority must be restrained by law. Another day, another Regal POV.